Morning. How you doing, Coach?
You're an old lineman. You're not scared of it.
No. Just scared of getting old.
So how do you replace? How do you replace what you got to replace? What's it looking like right now?
First of all, I don't know how you replace those guys.
Yeah.
I'm excited about how the young guys are working right now. Their development's coming along really well. Josh Myers is having a heck of a spring. Nick Petit having a heck of a spring. Wyatt Davis having a heck of a spring.
Nice.
Bowen's getting back into the swing of things. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Josh Allaby's missed 4 practices in a row now with the flu. So I wanted him to get some work, and that's been out, so I haven't been able to get as good a look. Gavin Cupp is coming along. So I like where we're at right now. Replacing them? Well, I don't know. I'll tell you, it's hard. That was a lot of experience.
Are you looking for 5 or 10 or 12, or what do you have 5? Do you have a starting? I mean,
no.
Depth-wise.
Depth-wise right now.
Still fighting.
Oh, yeah, we're still fighting that. There's no question. And with Thayer being out again this spring, that's another blow to another guy. So, but the good news is those young kids get a ton of reps. And that's exactly what you probably have in the spring, is to get those young guys as much repetition as they can get to get better. And then, we'll get Thayer back in the fall and, go forward.
Coach Day was just talking about how well Josh Myers is playing this spring. Yeah. Just how important was that to get that center position solidified for you guys?
That was a huge worry and a concern of all of us when Mike decided to leave. And now that Josh has stepped in and really, taken the bit, and he's doing excellent. He's making the calls. And again, I told you, it really, before we practiced and went to the Rose Bowl, I really felt confident in that kid. I told you, I think he made something click during ball practice before we left and went out there, and his mindset, everything about him, how he carries himself, everything changed. And so I'm so confident now. And now after watching him 9 practices, I really think he's going to be exceptional.
Harry Miller's learning by correspondence. It sounded like Ryan was just talking about
we get
video back and forth.
Yeah,
so how are you bringing him along?
Just by watching, he watches everything we do. Every time we meet, I got those guys in here on FaceTime video. So as we're meeting, they're on FaceTime watching it. And then he watches all the practice film. We talk on the phone, or talk on FaceTime during the meetings. And we go over it, so when he gets here, hits the ground running, he knows exactly what to do.
Can he compete immediately? I mean, what's your
I have a gut feeling that he can. Yeah. That's all I can say.
Why, Greg? I mean, what stands out about him in that regard?
He's mature. He's strong. I think they did a bench test and they sent it in the mix. He did 225 26 times. I'm watching guys at the combine and guys work out that don't even get that. So that's another thing that tells me he's really smart. The fact that he's on there breaking the plays, studying film, calling me at night. Coach, what happened on play 19 in period 6? That tells me he's got a chance.
Jonah Jackson's another guy that I'm sure you guys are counting on that's not here yet. Is it kind of the same deal?
Same thing. Yeah. Absolutely same thing. I'm working the same thing with him, watching video, install. He watches the practices. We go over them. So, again, when they get here, they can hit the ground running. It won't be new for them.
What made Jonah an intriguing prospect as a graduate transfer from the bench point?
The fact that he's really a intelligent, tough football player. That was the first thing I liked about him. Then I watched him in our game block our guys last year, and he did a hell of a job. And I said, wow, that kid he was interested in us, and reached out to him. And here's an intelligent kid who's really tough, academic, all Big Ten, honorable mention, all Big Ten as a player. And to add a guy, when just like you said, I'm losing all that experience, to have a guy that now has 3 years of experience coming in, it was a huge bonus.
It sounds like
Go ahead.
It sounds like you're really pleased with some individual performances. Is all your progress toward developing a cohesive 5 going to have to be done in the fall?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Right now, because that 5's not going to be together yet, and some of the guys that are going to be in there, meaning Thayer, especially. And I think Jonah's going to be one of those guys that's going to compete right off the bat and could possibly be in there. So the cohesiveness of the group that's playing, obviously with Thayer out, it's not there. You're exactly right. So what we have to focus on is the development and building some depth. Like I said, building Nick Petit and Wyatt and Josh Myers, getting them as much experience as they can get, and then same thing with the other guys, and then try to find that cohesive group in the fall.
How much of a challenge is that, just to do all of that?
It's hard, but the good thing is you got 29 practices, and that's one thing. I don't worry about that. Thayer's had the experience. He'll jump right back in. It won't take him long. And then we have the summer, too. They do a lot of things in the summer that people don't even know about to get ready to build that cohesiveness. So the summer will be huge, too, and then going into camp.
Is that something where somebody has to kind of take the lead, though? Your veterans sort of have to be selfish? How does that work in the summer for them?
They run that. They run it all on their own. We give them a plan. We have a plan of what we want to accomplish on a daily basis. When they're in the weight room with with Mick, those guys go out there and the leaders take charge and know what they have to go out there and do. They watch film together, they break down film together, they fill out reports and things so I can keep progress of what they're doing without actually having to be out there with them.
And we've asked this before, but is it kind of the best 5, or is it like planning by position in terms of getting that offensive line?
I think it's both. Yeah. It's always the best 5.
Yeah.
And you want the best 5 guys on the field. Now, if a guy absolutely can't go to another position and play, then you work the second aspect of it. But you always want to get your best 5 players on the field somehow, just like last year with moving Mike to center.
So how valuable is
all 3 middle spots? I know,
all 3.
But especially with Josh Myers stepping up and Harry coming in. Do you envision Jonah as more of a guard?
Yes, I do. Okay. Just because of what you said.
Yeah.
Because of what Josh is doing. And we haven't even talked about Matt Jones. Matt Jones made some really good strides early, and then again he's been out 4 days now. I haven't had him in a week because of the flu, but he made some tremendous strides to be in that center position. So now, like you said, Harry and Jonah can play center and guard. And again, now they've known it, they learn it. When they get in here, they'll hit the ground running and be ready to go.
Where does Brandon Bowen end up when this all settles out, these musical chairs, so to speak?
It's a good question. He's going to find out through competition. Yeah. Because right now, we have 4 tackles that are working right now. Albee, Bowen, Nick Petit, and Max Ray.
Yeah.
So I'm working those guys now, knowing that Thayer will be back in at that left tackle spot. All right. Now I provide some depth. And the other thing that Bowen has the ability to do is go play guard, like he started guard 2 years ago before his injury. So Bowen can go in there and play some guard too. So that's another bonus. So he may fit in the guard picture. He may fit in the tackle picture.
How close is he to being the player that he was before the injury?
I think we're as close now as we've been. I really see some things. I think it still tends to get sore on him as we go, but I think right now I've seen him move, strike, drive his legs like the old Bowen before that injury now. So I think he's getting closer. I think now it's just a matter of getting the conditioning back in his leg over and over and over and over the wear and tear.
And how has he handled everything? I mean, it's got to be hard for a guy who was a starter. And then
I think it was extremely hard. I think what people don't realize is when a kid gets injured like that, the mental aspect is way more than the physical. The physical, we have the best people in the world getting these kids back. I mean, the best people in the world. But what you can't ever judge is how he feels. Like you said, when they're hurt and when they come back, the biggest thing then is getting back into live action and not being worried about hurting again. You know how it is. And that's all right here. And right now we're still fighting through those things to get Brandon absolutely confident in being back in live action.
You talked about a lot about development. What have you seen from Gavin, and where do you think he's improved the most with his game?
I think Gavin's improved mostly. Number one, he's more physical. He's strong. He's always been a strong kid, but now he's gaining confidence, all right, in his ability to go block those guys, to be able to go out there against the first string and say, okay, I'm as good as these guys. I can go get this done. And the second thing is he's really made strides in. He was a guy that was never confident in assignments either, the mental aspect of the game. Now he is. He knows it now. It's been enough time. He can react now and go play and not worry about making mistakes.
Are you moving Nick from left to right, or are you just keeping him at right for now?
I'm going to keep him right for now. That's where he's comfortable. We talked about it. Okay. We talked about him, where he's most comfortable at, where he's worked the most, and that's where he's most comfortable at right now.
Is that also because that's where you want him competing in the fall against whomever?
That's exactly correct. That's part of it too, no doubt about it.
Greg, can you tell in offensive meetings that you've been an offensive coordinator?
Yep.
Yursich has been an offensive coordinator. Ryan Day has been an offensive coordinator. Who am I leaving out? Kevin Wilson has been off. How does that play from a chemistry standpoint, or how do you check your ego at the door if that's the right?
It is. That's exactly the right thing, because you have to, and we're all on the same page because we know exactly what Ryan wants.
Yeah,
it's clear. And when the objectives that you have to get are clear, everybody knows their role. The good thing about it is those guys, like you said, don't have egos, so we can share ideas and past experiences that may help us, and they're open instead of somebody saying no right away because of an ego thing. Yeah. That's why.
Does Ryan demand that? I mean, do y'all have meetings about that? I mean, how does it? Or did this just work out this way?
No, I think that's how it works out. I think when you're an assistant coach, that's your job. The head coach sets a culture and sets a vision. Your job is to go find that vision.
Yeah.
And that's what we do in that room. Ryan makes it very clear what he wants on offense, what we're going to do, what he wants to do, what he wants to be good at. Now we go in there and we can share ideas and put new things in and those things, as long as it's within the lines of what he wants to do.
But I'm sure you've been on a staff with a guru. Right?
Oh, there's no question.
So what is the biggest difference between that and this?
Well, obviously you'll see the kids. The kids don't get on the same page when you got a guy like that, because he's pushing his agenda ahead of anything else. When we leave that room, we're all on the same page. When we leave that room, we're all out here. We know exactly what's going to be executed. We know exactly what's expected of our guys. There's no, well, I thought I want to do this. None of that. That's zero.
When it comes to it comes to the getting the best 5 guys on the field, is versatility something that's preached during recruiting, or is it something that's expected day one, or something along those lines?
Yeah, that's a good question, because a lot of the recruits ask me, where am I going to play? I don't know. You can play at this level. I know that. It's like Michael Jordan. He came in at left tackle. We had nobody at left guard. He went in, started, was a freshman All-American. Those 2 guys left. Mike went to center. So, when you can play, you can play. I don't try to, even through recruiting, earmark a guy. Now, when he gets here, he may get more comfortable at a spot. But the fact that he can play multiple spots, if he's one of the best guys, they all learn that. Jamarco learned that. Isaiah learned that, going both sides. Pat and Billy were All-Americans at guard and center. So the ability to go do that allows you to get the best 5 players on the field, and it develops versatility in those guys.
Greg, with Josh, I think people saw how strong he was coming in and where he was ranked, and I think the assumption is that maybe he should have been playing already. How difficult was his transition, knowing the offense he was in, the position change he had to make, and is he actually more on sort of the right path where he is right now, considering all that?
I believe he's on the exact right path, and I'll tell you what the big transition for him was learning how to pass protect. That offense in high school, all 4 hands on the ground and just roar off the ball that way. And he's excellent at that. He's powerful. He's all those things. But now you have to pass block Draymond Jones, or you have to pass block Bosa. So you have to develop that ability. That's what took him some time. He'd never done it. He had never been taught it. So it took him some ability and some time to make that transition. Now he's done that. He's really done a good job of developing his foot quickness to allow him to pass block those quick guys. He's always had the run aspect. Now he's got that aspect, and that was what took a little more time to develop to get him where he is.
How's he been with the under?